I've been a pretty casual fan of the post-apocalyptic genre for a bit now, whether it's from zombies, aliens, climate change, lack of resources. I always liked how humanity and the characters would struggle and move forward in that scenario, and each story would have a set of characters that would struggle in different ways. The people in A Quiet Place can't make any noise at all because the aliens called the Death Angels destroy anything that makes sound. The people in The Walking Dead not only have to deal with the zombies, but also other people who have fully let themselves fall into their most darkest selves because now there are no more laws. Dealing with them and the fact that every single person is infected and every person that dies will become a walker too. Not to mention World War Z, probably one of the scariest zombies I've seen. Zombies that run faster than a human and the transformation is crazy fast too. Zom 100 has a special place in my heart, not only for the zombie apocalypse genre, but for manga in general. I never thought it'd feel comforting for me to read a manga about a zombie apocalypse. When I started watching The Walking Dead, I was a bit anxious because I knew that so many bad things were going to take place. But with Zom 100, even though obviously bad things will happen in a story like this, the atmosphere, at least to me, was a comforting one. Zom 100 is about a guy named Akira Tendo, a former employee of a black company who had first started off his job with excitement, but then falls into the typical burnout that an office worker goes through. He loses motivation in life. His coworker that he has a crush on is getting piped down by his boss. The only thing on his mind is working and dreading going back to work on his time off, and basically everything just goes downhill for him. So when a zombie outbreak happens, he finally has the spark in his life, finally being able to do things he's always wanted to do. He creates a bucket list of 100 things to do before he dies, giving the name of the series Zom 100, The Bucket List of the Dead. Until now, I've read Volume 1 to Volume 7, and this series is just crazy. I remember when I was a kid watching this anime called High School of the Dead. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it and even a bit nostalgic like I am. And that anime was crazy. It was a lot for my little kid brain to handle. The fan service, the violence, the gore. It really left an imprint on me, to the point where I kinda refrained from picking up animes and mangas about a zombie apocalypse. So I was kinda on the fence about Zom 100 until I randomly came across the volume cover for Volume 2, Akira in a shark suit in front of a zombie shark. That really sparked up my interest, and thankfully I was sleeping over at my friend's house and he had bought 7 volumes already and didn't even read a single page of it. I knew from that volume cover that this series was gonna go hard, and on that night while my homie was sleeping, I read all 7 Zom 100 volumes that he had. Now, I don't want to get into a lot of spoiler type things, but I want to tell you some things about this manga to get you excited for it. This series really has a different atmosphere from other zombie apocalypse series, even being a bit lighthearted while also not ignoring the seriousness of a zombie outbreak. He reunites with old friends and meets new people along the way, and goes on crazy adventures that you would never expect in the zombie apocalypse manga while also not being too far-fetched. Okay, maybe a little bit far-fetched, but still fun. The characters are actually pretty smart too. A thing that pissed me off in the Walking Dead series was the lack of protection that the characters had. A lot of the women just wore small shirts, and the men, when they wore jackets, which is better than nothing, would roll up the sleeves. Yeah, leather or denim isn't the best defense for a zombie bite, but it's much better than straight up forearm skin. Not trying to spoil, but there's a part where Akira has to wear a shark suit to deal with a zombie shark, using this same suit to handle other zombies, which was genius, and the author still paid attention to the fact that even though the teeth wouldn't break the skin, it would still hurt like hell being bitten. The characters are a staple in this series. Akira's optimism, Kenichiro's comedic value, Shizuka's realism, Beatrix's excitement of Japan. Every chapter I was done with, I was genuinely excited on what would happen next. The genre of the zombie outbreak or post-apocalypse, very rarely, even throughout media, will you find a series that actually has a more optimistic outlook on it. It even teaches you to be grateful for the smaller things too. Now, of course, there are zombie stories that also have a lighthearted atmosphere to it. Amazing stories, by the way, but rarely have we seen it in a manga form. It allows itself to break through barriers that you'd normally find in any other series. It is a genuinely fresh take on the genre. Yeah, a zombie outbreak is a relatively simple concept, and it does have mandatory limits in its genre, but Zom 100 still found ways to make it an incredibly fun and sincere story. I think it's maybe the simplicity that I really like about it. At the beginning of the manga, the author already knows that the reader is aware of zombies. The characters in the manga already know about zombies, so it doesn't waste any time trying to figure out the cause of this, patient zero, the names of the zombies, etc. it doesn't have this thing called genre blindness, where for example, the zombies wouldn't have previously existed in a story, so the characters in that story don't know what they are, but the characters in Zom 100 already do. The Walking Dead does have genre blindness in the story. So not only are they somewhat prepared, but it's also a sort of breath of fresh air because I'm just straight up tired of seeing the same things over and over. The way that the author is able to execute this type of setting and atmosphere in a story like this is genuinely impressive. On a rainy day, on a late night, on the bus to school, on the bus home from school, Zom 100 is a great manga to read. My friend is lucky too because, like I said, he didn't read a single page from the 7 volumes he got until after I read them. He got the first one because it looked cool. Then when it would release, he'd buy the next volume and say he'd read it later. He's lucky it's a great manga too because if it was bad, he would have basically wasted $70. But you won't be wasting that much money on a manga like this because it's an amazing read. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments. I got the links on my social description. Be kind to yourselves and each other. Thanks for watching.